Shortly after school got out for summer vacation in 1984, Sherry Marler's stepfather, Raymond, took the 12-year-old with him as he ran some errands. Ray was a farmer and he needed to fix a combine and check some of his crops, then drive into the center of Greenville, Alabama to visit the bank. While many 12-year-olds would have refused to go on this trip or would at least complain the entire time, Sherry was actually excited. She loved helping out her stepfather with his farming and she was always eager to learn about his profession. It was June 6th when Ray parked at the First National Bank and left $1 for Sherry in the truck, intending for her to purchase a Coke from the vending machine in the Chevron gas station across the street. Sherry left the truck and began walking to the gas station at around 9:30 a.m. This was the last time she was ever seen. About 15 minutes later, Ray returned to the truck to find it empty. He quickly reported her missing to the authorities and an investigation began. Detectives looked into each of Sherry's family members as suspects, including Ray himself, as well as her biological father. Both her stepfather and biological father were ruled out as suspects. During the course of the investigation, there were 3 different sightings of Sherry. These reports came from 3 different witnesses, but each of them provided an eerily similar story. In all 3 sightings, Sherry had been accompanied by an unknown man who was around 50 years old, with a husky build, a weathered face, and wrinkles around his eyes. Each time Sherry was seen, she appeared to be very upset, disheveled, and even a little dazed, as if she wasn't in the right headspace. The first time she was spotted was at a truck stop in Conley, Georgia, and Sherry referred to the unknown man as BJ. Due to these sightings, it is most widely believed that Sherry was kidnapped during her brief trip to the gas station. Her family also stated that she had no unusual issues in her life that would have motivated her to run away, which further highlights the probability of a kidnapping. However, the identity of the man she was seen with has never been revealed. The motivation behind the kidnapping is also a mystery, as well as the ordeal that Sherry was put through during and after her disappearance. Hopefully the truth behind the disappearance of Sherry Marler can come to light eventually, but until it does, it remains a creepy and unsettling mystery. Click the join button to become a member today. Channel members receive exclusive content as well as early access to all my content. It was the night before her 32nd birthday when Norine Higuchi Brown mysteriously vanished. She was a beloved mother of 2, as well as a daughter, wife, and friend to many. Norine grew up on Long Island in New York, attended Uniondale High School, and worked in an office after graduation until she met the love of her life, John Brown. They started their family in New Hyde Park, Long Island. Having been born shortly before Christmas, on December 13th, Norine wanted to bake Christmas cookies for her birthday. She spent the afternoon of December 12, 1990, shopping for Christmas presents with her sister Susan and both children. They visited the mall Santa and then proceeded to drop Susan off in Franklin Square where she lived. She returned home, but left the house at around 11 p.m. that night to purchase the ingredients for her Christmas cookies. This lighthearted trip of fun and holiday cheer would turn into a tragedy that her family would never forget. Norine never came back from the store, and she was never seen again. The next day, one of Norine's friends, Elaine Commando, received a phone call from John Brown at around 8 a.m. John asked if his wife had spent the night at Elaine's house, explaining that they had what he described as a minor argument the previous night, after which she failed to return home. Elaine told him that she had not seen her friend that night, but she drove to the Pathmark supermarket where Norine had gone shopping for cookie ingredients. Norine's car was parked in the supermarket parking lot, locked and fully loaded with Christmas presents. Her purse with $45 was also still inside the vehicle. She had left her wallet and identification at home. John filed a missing persons report and his colleagues from work joined the search effort. John was a firefighter at the time, so his coworkers were ready and willing to help out. They scoured the surrounding area for a week, but to no avail. When customers and employees at the Pathmark supermarket were asked about Norine, one employee recalled seeing her car after 11 p.m., but nobody could remember seeing her inside the store. Norine apparently had a habit of shopping late at night in order to avoid the crowds, so her choice of timing was by no means unusual, but the fact that nobody had actually seen her inside the store was certainly very suspicious. Over the years, Norine has never been found, and there are several theories regarding her disappearance. John openly stated that he believes Norine was murdered. He cited a witness report of an argument that occurred in the Pathmark parking lot on the night in question. Unfortunately, there is no official record of this argument, and no further information is known about its nature. Some other sources have pointed the finger at John himself, claiming that he refused to help in the search effort for his wife and instead chose to secure full custody of his children while simultaneously cutting ties with Norine's family. Elaine Commando suspects that John may have been responsible for his wife's disappearance. According to her, their relationship was much more tumultuous and unstable than it may have looked from the outside. Nevertheless, John was never named a suspect by the police and he remarried in the years following Norine's disappearance. In 2017, some of Norine's friends came together to revive the investigation into her disappearance. They worked with the Nassau Police Department in an effort to keep the case in the public eye. In June of 2019, an article was published that stated the Nassau Homicide Squad was taking measures to look into a well that was situated in the backyard of the apartment building Norine and John had lived in at the time of her disappearance. However, these efforts did not uncover any new information, and Norine's case remains cold to this very day. With any luck, this will change in the future, but until then, all we can do is keep her memory alive. It was the summer of 1998. 21-year-old April Geyer was a mother who struggled with depression. Her boyfriend had drowned only a year prior, which had left her to raise her young son alone. 15-year-old Roseanna Forcum was being raised by her father alongside her younger sister Jamie after their mother had abandoned them the previous year. Roseanna had also recently finished a juvenile offender program after skipping school too many times. The two girls developed an unlikely friendship despite their age gap and seemed to be able to support each other in ways their respective families could not. The pair had a habit of disappearing together for extended periods of time, but they would always call home to let their families know they were safe. They would also always come home after finishing their activities, which sometimes involved partying. On August 14th of 1998, the girls left April's apartment in Milica, Minnesota. It's unknown why they left, and while some people believe they were going to a party, that possibility has never been confirmed. Due to their habit of disappearing suddenly, they were not reported missing until a few days afterwards, when Daniel Forcum reported his daughter missing to the St. Cloud Police Department, and April's mother reported her missing to the Mille Lacs County Police Department. For several years, nothing would happen in the case. It's unclear if an extensive search effort was conducted or if the police refused to take the case seriously, but no new leads would turn up until 2000, when a confidential informant came forward with a tip on the disappearance. According to this informant, April and Roseanna had attended a party in St. Cloud, Minnesota on August 14th, after which they decided to hitchhike home. The informant's friend picked the girls up in his vehicle, drove them back to his apartment, and strangled them to death. After the murder, the informant helped his friend to dispose of their bodies near a farm in Wadena County, Minnesota. The police conducted a search effort of the area in which the informant had claimed the bodies were buried, but they never uncovered any evidence of the burial or the bodies. However, Jamie Forcum stated that the authorities did find several burned items that had belonged to April and Roseanna in a river near the supposed burial site. Daniel Forcum believes the girls were actually buried there, and the police were simply unable to find them. Law enforcement brought dogs to the search effort near the river, but they did not find anything. April's mother ended up hiring her own pack of cadaver dogs, which did pick up her daughter's scent in the area, but failed to find any bodies. Based on all this information, it seems extremely likely that the girls were in that area, but it's unclear if they were buried there. It's possible that they were murdered near the river, or the informant could have been telling the truth. To this day, we still don't know what the reality of the situation is. The investigators never publicly named any suspects, and they were not very open with the investigation, which has led some people to speculate that they might know more than they have announced. Unfortunately, we currently don't know. Hopefully that will change before long, and the truth can come to light. "29-year-old Alexis Ware was a mother of 2 children who had a significant online presence and a fairly successful career as a hairstylist. Her studio was located inside her home in Greenville, South Carolina, where she attracted clientele from numerous states. Apparently, Alexis was so good at her job that clients were often willing to travel long distances just to get their hair done. According to those who knew her, Alexis was a good mother who loved her children more than anything. Despite having separated from the fathers of her kids, she still maintained contact and a positive platonic relationship with her youngest child's father, TJ Patterson. On January 30th of 2022, Alexis and TJ had plans to meet at a 7-Eleven gas station along Highway 29 in Anderson County, South Carolina, in order to exchange their children. They had used this spot for this same purpose several times before, so it was nothing out of the ordinary. After the exchange, Alexis and TJ made a plan for Alexis to follow TJ and the kids to TJ's mother's house. It was around 7:30 p.m. when they stopped at a red light, and Alexis suddenly swerved around TJ and sped off into the night. The maneuver was completely unexpected and totally unannounced. There appeared to be no good reason for Alexis to do it. This bizarre turn of events would end up being the last time Alexis Ware was ever seen. An investigation into her disappearance soon followed, which turned up some very disturbing information. According to Alexis's mother, Alberta Gray, Alexis had been receiving unwanted phone calls from an unknown person in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. She had also been followed by a truck in this same time period. Furthermore, Alexis's 30th birthday had been coming up, and she had cried to her mother about her fear that she would not make it to her special day. Finally, Alberta reported that Alexis told her a black truck had been outside her apartment on the same day that she vanished. Alexis had called the police, then immediately rushed downstairs when she saw the cruiser arriving. It was shortly after this that she left to meet up with TJ. At 8:15 p.m. on the day of her disappearance, Alexis's phone pinged off a cell tower 30 miles away from the 7-Eleven she had been at. Following this, her car was captured by a highway camera sometime that evening in Augusta, Georgia, then later returning to South Carolina. She had scheduled an appointment at the state lottery office in Augusta, but she never actually showed up. The car was eventually found on February 2nd on a remote road near a deer hunting property in McCormick County. It was covered in mud and still contained her cell phone and purse. The bonnet she often wore was found beside the car. Fingerprints were collected from the vehicle, but the authorities have not yet made any announcement about them. During the course of the investigation, detectives cleared TJ Patterson of any involvement. Alexis's friends and family strongly believe she was kidnapped, seeing as she was not the type of person who would ever willingly leave her children. According to those who knew her, Alexis was smart and responsible as well, meaning she almost certainly did not run away or do anything foolhardy. Unfortunately, the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain a mystery to this very day. Maybe new information will come to light at some point in the near future, but until then, all we can do is speculate.